everybody, welcome to example B. This next question is an example of a mixture problem, and it's very common in algebra. So what we're going to do is we're going to read it, and then we're going to write a system of equations. We're going to solve that system, and then we're going to check our solution. All right. So it says a pharmacist has a 5% saline, aka salt, solution and a 20% saline solution. How much of each solution should be combined to create a bottle of 90 milliliters of a 10% saline solution? That means if I mix some of this one and some of this one, I'll get exactly 90 milliliters and it'll be exactly 10%. All right, so we need to write a system of equations. So we probably want to be able to say like this one, that's a little bit big, that's all right, is kind of one variable, one kind of a thing, and this other one is the other variable because we're going to have two variables. So first let's define variables. Alright, I know it doesn't say to do it, but I think it'll make a lot more sense if we do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's just say X is the milliliters of the 5% solution. That means how many do we have? It's not 5%, it's not anything else like that. It's just how much of the 5% solution do we have? 5% solution. Okay, and let's say Y is the milliliters of the 20% solution. Alright, that means that we'll just have a total number of milliliters if we add those together. Alright, so it says write a system of equations that models this situation. So we're going to do that for part A. We're going to say that we're going to get two equations. Alright, so this first one is almost so obvious, sometimes it's really hard to figure out. And I know a lot of people struggle with writing this first equation that we have. Alright, so I have 90 milliliters total, and the only way to get 90 milliliters is if I add X plus Y, right? Because this is the only two spots I'm getting the milliliters from. So I'm going to say this is going to be X plus Y equals the 90 milliliters of solution that I need. Okay, so there's our first one. Our second equation has to deal with the percentages, alright? We're going to talk about how much salt we have, alright? So we're going to talk about just the saline part. So this is how many milliliters. Let's talk about just the saline. Well, 5% of X is going to be how much saline I have in the first one, right? So if I take 0.05X and I add it to 0.20Y, 0.20Y, this is how much saline I have from this one, how much saline I have from this one, and how much saline I have from the last one is just going to be 10%, so 0.10 times how much I have, which is 90. Alright, now could I get a number for this one? Of course, but for now all we had to do was write our system. Alright, so there is our system. Now we're going to solve one equation for X or Y and substitute in the other equation. So I can solve it for this, either this X or this X or this Y or this Y. Does it matter which one I solve for? No, so I just want to look at what's going to be easiest for me. And I think it's probably going to be easiest, let's just say, solve for this X. Okay, I would either say solve for this X or solve for this Y. And it doesn't really matter which one we solve for, so I'm just picking X. So I want to solve for this X. So I have X plus Y equals 90. So now we have X plus Y equals 90. So I'm going to use that one, X, and this is for part B. X plus Y equals 90 to start off with, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract Y from both sides. And I get X equals 90 minus Y. Alright, so now we can use substitution. I know what X equals. I can replace every X that I see in the other equation with 90 minus Y. So if we look back, we had this equation, so now I'm going to plug in what I have for this equation. So my other equation was 0.05X plus 0.20Y equals, and I'm just going to do that multiplication right now. 90 times 0.1, that means I just move the decimal point over 1, so it's going to be 9. Right? 10% of 90 is just 9. Okay, so now I'm going to replace my X here with 90 minus Y. So I have 0.05, and instead of X, we're going to write 90 minus Y, right? Because that's exactly what X equals, plus 0.20Y equals 9. Okay, so now I have this equation much better off. Okay, so now what I want to do is, I don't like these decimals, so if I can multiply everything by the same number, I might be able to get rid of all of them. So if I multiply by like 10, 100, if I multiply everything by 100, my decimals are going to go away. So I'm going to multiply everything by 100. So this becomes 5, parentheses, 90 minus Y. And multiply this by 100, moves the decimal point over 2, plus 20Y equals, and 90 times 100, or 9 times 100 is 900. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier to solve. So now I just have to combine my like terms. So that means I'm going to distribute the 5 to both of them, and 9 times 5 is 45, so that is going to be 450 minus 5y plus 20y equals 900. Okay, now combining my y's, I have minus 5 and plus 20, so that's going to be 15. So I'm kind of ran out of room, so I'm just going to say I'm going over here. So I've got 450 plus 15y equals 900. Okay, so now subtract 450 from both sides, minus 450 from both sides, and I end up with 15y equals 450. And then divide both sides by 15, divide by 15, and I get y equals, well, 45 divided by 15 is 3, so that's going to be 30. So am I done? It says solve one equation for x or y and substitute in the other equation to find a solution. Did I find a solution to the system of equations? No, because I only know what y is. So can I go back and plug it into one of my equations from part A? Sure, I can plug it into either one. Well, that makes it really easy. If I use this first one, it's so much easier, right? Because I have to add up to 90. So if I plug this back in to my equation, I'm going to plug in y for 30. So I have x plus y equals 90, and my solution for y was 30. So we're going to get x plus 30 equals 90. And hopefully you can figure out what number plus 30 is 90. We can just say x equals 60. So 60 milliliters of solution for x, and 30, and y equals 30 milliliters. And this was of the 5% solution, and this is of the 20% solution. Alright, so we did that part. We have an answer. We have, this is our solution to the system of equations, 60 milliliters and 30 milliliters. So all you have to do now is check your solution. Well, how can I check this solution? I know it works for my first equation, 30 plus 60 is 90. I just have to go back in and plug it in here. So that is your job. Does this work, or did we make a mistake?